Hey, this is functions video part 3. We're going to be talking about slope today. So the easiest way to think of the definition of slope is by showing you the formula. On the GED formula sheet, anytime you see M, it's going to be talking about slope. So the way you find slope if you have a graph is you find the rise from one point to the next over the run. Now to find the rise and the run, you're always going to be going left to right. So we're going to go over a few of the basics first. Anytime that you have a line that's going in this direction, I say it's going up because I'm going from left to right. So from left to right, this line is rising. So anytime the slope, the linear equation is going up, it's going to be positive. Now in this one going from left to right, you're falling, you're going down. So anytime you have a linear equation or a line that is going in that direction, the slope is always going to be negative. Now there are two that are sort of tricky. The first one is a perfectly horizontal line. So if you have a perfectly horizontal line, you're not rising any, you're just running. So what you end up with is you end up with 0 over infinity. Well, 0 can be divided by any number and it ends up just being 0. So anytime you have a perfectly horizontal line, the slope is going to be 0. You can also have a perfectly vertical line. So what happens here is you're rising infinitely and you're not running any. So you end up with infinity over 0. Well, in math, you cannot divide by 0. So anytime you're dividing a number by 0, what you end up with is undefined. So horizontal, 0, vertical, undefined. So this line has many points on it. You can pick any 2 points you want. I would just suggest going with the easiest. You can start at your origin. You can go up 1. If you start from here and go all the way to here, it'll still end up with the same slope because you'll be simplifying your fraction. So if you start here to figure out how many you rise, you're going from left to right. So you're going to go from that dot to that dot. And don't count lines, because if you count lines, you're going to end up counting an extra line because you're going to go 1, 2, 3, and that's going to be wrong. What you're going to count is boxes. So you can see these little boxes right here. So from that to that is 1 box, and then from there to there is 2 boxes. So the rise of this line is 2. You put that on top because your rise goes on top. Now to get from this box to this box, you're going to run 1, or from this point to this point, you're going to run 1 box. So your bottom number is 1. If you know fractions, anytime you end up with 1 on the bottom, you just simplify to the top number. So your answer is just going to be 2. So your slope for this line is 2. Now notice from left to right is going up, so it's going to be positive 2. Something else I forgot to mention. These numbers over here, don't pay attention to those because they're going to end up confusing you when you talk about slope. These numbers right here. The only thing that's important when you're counting slope is the boxes. This line could just as easily be down here and still have the same slope. So don't worry about these numbers right here right now. We're going to have another video about if you only have points. So you just want to look at the lines on the graph, the dots on the graph. So from here to here, you're falling. So remember I said anytime you've got a line that's going down from left to right, you're going to have a negative slope. So from this point to this point, you're going down one box here, two boxes here. So when you write that, you're going to write negative 2 because you fell. Anytime you go down, it's going to be a negative. And you start here and count how many boxes you run. 1, 2, 3, 4. So your slope is negative 2 over 4. You always have to simplify fractions when it comes to slope especially. They're not going to have that as an answer. You can simply type this in on your TI-30XS by hitting fraction key, which looks like this. It's got an N over a D. Once you hit that key, your fraction line should appear on your calculator. You have to hit the negative key. Make sure you do not hit the subtraction key. The negative key is in parentheses. It's at the bottom of your calculator. It looks like this. Then you're going to hit your 2 key. Now, this is the part that's confusing. At the top right hand of your calculator, you have buttons that look like this. And that's not perfect. Those are your directional keys. This one goes down, this one goes up, this one goes right, this one goes left. So if you notice when you type in the 2, your cursor is still blinking on the top of your fraction. So if you just hit 4, it's going to put 24 on top and it's not going to do anything. So you've got to hit this key right here to get to the bottom of the fraction. So you hit your down key, then you hit your 4. And then last, you hit your enter key. Now I know this fraction is pretty simple. Some people can do it in their head, but they're not always going to be that easy. If you do it with your calculator, it's going to be faster, it's going to be more accurate, and you'll always get the right answer as long as this is correct. So after you hit that, you should get an answer of negative 1 over 2. So negative 1/2. Okay, so going from left to right. Now notice that this graph does not have dots like these two had. This had a dot here, this had a dot here. So you knew where you were starting and where you were going to. This one doesn't. You might end up with a question like this on the GED. If you do, what you want to look for is you want to look for where 3 lines cross. So you can't pick a point here because it's in between the boxes. You want to see right where the boxes cross. So right here crosses with your vertical, crosses with your horizontal, which also crosses with your linear equation or your line. So all 3 of them cross right there. You can make that a point. Now if you want, you could make this a point down here. You can make this a point. You can make this point. I'm just going to go ahead and go down here because I can see easily that it's crossing down here, just to show you that it doesn't matter what 2 points you pick on the line. So first off, I notice it's positive. Now, I didn't say earlier, that's a really good way of eliminating answers that you know are wrong. If you look at your graph and your line is going this way and 2 of your answers are negative, you can automatically eliminate those as an answer. You can narrow it down to the 2 positive answers. So how many do we go up? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Start right where we finished. How many do we run? 1, 2, 3, 4. So what you're doing is you're essentially making a right triangle, and you're counting the side lengths. So how long is that side? It's 8. How long is that side? It's 4. Just make sure when you do that you're not getting these numbers mixed up, because if you put 4 over 8, then you're going to end up with 1/2 instead of your correct answer. So went up 8 over 4, typed it into the calculator. If you can do it in your head, you can do it that way. So 8 divided by 4 is 2, which is the same as what we got before. So it doesn't matter which 2 points you pick. You could have picked this one right here, and you would have seen that it goes up 2 and over 1, and 2 over 1 is still going to be 2, just like it was before. But you're not always going to have those points picked for you. Sometimes you're going to have to pick your own points. So this is the first worksheet. This is the long one. I'm only going to go over a couple of these pages. You've got lots more pages to do on your own with the answers in the back. So let's look at this one right here, number 1. So from this dot to this dot, how many boxes did we go up? We only went up 1. So that's our top number. From that dot to that dot, how many boxes did we go over? 1, 2, 3. That's already simplified. You can double check in your calculator. You should still get 1/3. That would be your answer for number 1. Number 2, very similar. On this one, we're still going up 1 box from this to this. But on this one, we're only going over 2 boxes. So your slope is 1/2. Now remember I said anytime you're going this way, it's positive. You should be able to look at this now and tell that this answer is automatically going to be negative. So this time you're going to be falling. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we fell 5. So that's -5. And we went over 1. So again, simplify that, and you just end up with -5 as your answer. There's our first vertical line. So you see these 2 dots right here. That means it's going straight up and down. This is just something you're going to have to memorize. Perfect vertical line. Your slope is going to be undefined. Again, I don't know why they put one right after the other. Vertical line. So your slope is going to be undefined again. And surprise, they put a third one straight up and down. So on to the next one. So count how many you're going down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How many are you running? 1. So simplify that. Now notice I'm always starting with the left dot. You've got to start with the left dot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. Now a lot of these have had 1 on the bottom. They're not going to be that easy on the GED. Here's our first one without 1 on the bottom. So going left to right, you're falling, so I know I'm going to be negative. 1, 2, 3, 4. Get to that line. So make sure you put a -4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Punch that in the calculator, make sure it's in simplest form, but I already know it is because there are 4 and 5 share no common factors. So your answer is going to be -4/5. Now on the GED, they're probably not going to put the negative up here. What they're going to do is they're going to put the negative beside the fraction line. I just want you to know that that is no different than that. Putting a negative here or just a negative down here, just don't put it on both, is the same as putting a negative in front of the fraction line. Okay, again, we're going to have a negative slope again. So from here to here, we only dropped 1 box. And from here to here, we ran 1 box. So your slope ends up being -1. I want you to pause your video and try to solve all 4 of these. All right, let's work them out. So rise, 1, 2, run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 boxes. That's in simplest form, so we're done. 2 sevens. Rise 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Run 1, 2, 3. Something I didn't talk about earlier, it's okay to have improper fractions, only when you're doing slope. Any other GED question is probably going to want you to convert this to a mixed number. Just remember that when you have slope, you never have mixed numbers. They always have to be improper fractions. So this one we're going to be following. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to be running 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops, I forgot my negative after I said that. Again, this is in simplest form already, but you can double check on your calculator. So this one we rise 1, 2, 3, 4. And we run 1, 2, 3. Again, improper fraction, we just leave it just like that. Now if you have common factors, you can reduce, but you never turn impropers back into a mixed number. So pause your video and solve these 6 problems. Okay, this one's falling 1, 2, 3, and running 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one's rising 1, 2, and running 1, 2, 3, 4. It's the first one we've had to simplify in a while. Punch down the calculator, you end up with 1/2. This one's straight up and down, so it's undefined. From here to here, you rise 1. You run 1, 2, 3, 4. Anytime you got 1 on the top, it's automatically in simplest form. Here you're going to fall 1, 2, 3, 4, -4. You're going to run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops. -4/5. Here you're going to fall 1. You're going to run 1. So your final answer is -1. Now there's another worksheet. The first page has dotted lines. The second page has no dots. So I wanted you to be able to practice one that you had to pick out your own dots. So the first one I would pick on number 9 is this point right here, because I can tell that these 2 lines are crossing, and then my linear equation is crossing right across those 2 lines. So I'm going to pick that point right there. Now it's kind of difficult. You can't cross when it comes close. It's got to be exactly across. So you've got to come all the way down to here before you cross again. So now we're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3. That's in simplest form, so you're finished. Let's find 2 dots on number 10. Here's one right here. looks like there's one right here. So 1, 2, 3. We're following 3. 1, 2. And that's in simplest form. I want you to pause the video and try these next 4 on your own. Alright, I'm going to pick this point. If you picked a different point than I did, it doesn't matter, because you should end up with the same answer no matter what 2 points you pick. Now if you end up with a different answer, then that means you picked 2 points or you counted wrong. 2, 3, 4. So rows 4. 1, 2, 3. We ran 3. Looks like there's a point here and down here. So we're following 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're running 3. We haven't had one of these yet. Perfectly horizontal line. Remember from your notes, it's a 0. Here's a point here. There's lots of points you can pick on this one. Pick that one, you can pick that one, you can pick that one, you can pick that one down there. Just gonna pick these 2. So you rose 1, you ran 2. Now just to show you, if I pick this point way over here and this point way over here, and I count 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Even though that is different than that, they're actually equal, because when you simplify 4/8, you end up with 1/2. And you could have picked 2 points where you got 3/6. You could have picked 2 points where you got 2/4. All of those are equal to 1/2. So you should end up with the final answer that's the same no matter what you pick. I'll leave these 2 for you to do. And that is the end of the video.